9 car dealerships are collapsing so fast, they are practically handing you the keys and begging you to drive away. While you have been told the dealership model is just evolving with the times, the reality behind those glass showrooms is financial carnage. Independent dealers who survived recessions, factory bankruptcies, and even the pandemic are now closing their doors permanently because inventory costs are destroying their cash flow. The same dealers who marked up trucks by $15,000 just 2 years ago are now selling identical vehicles at invoice prices or below. You have been fed stories about market adjustments and healthy corrections. The truth is, these dealerships are hemorrhaging money every single day, and their desperation has created once-in-a-lifetime buying opportunities if you know where to look. In this video, I am revealing exactly which 9 dealership groups are in full panic mode, what insane deals they are offering just to survive another month, and how you can leverage their desperation to get a vehicle for thousands less than you ever thought possible. If you want to see what is really happening behind the cheerful commercials and inflatable gorillas, hit that subscribe button right now, because this information could save you more money than a year of budgeting. Stick around until number 1 because that dealership chain is not just struggling. It is liquidating locations faster than a going out of business furniture store, and the deals are absolutely unreal. Number 9. Suburban family dealerships across the Midwest are facing an extinction-level crisis that nobody is talking about. These multi-generational operations, the ones where Grandpa started selling Fords in 1965 and the grandkids now run the finance department, are getting absolutely crushed by floor plan financing costs. For those who do not know, floor plan financing is how dealerships actually pay for the cars sitting on their lots. They borrow money from banks to stock inventory, and they pay interest on every single vehicle until it sells. When interest rates were near zero, this system worked beautifully. Dealers could afford to stock hundreds of vehicles and wait for the perfect buyer. But now, with interest rates 5 times higher than they were 3 years ago, that math has become absolutely devastating. Number 8. Urban import dealerships are drowning in luxury inventory nobody wants anymore. These are the dealers who bet big on premium European and Japanese brands. The ones who built fancy showrooms with espresso machines and massage chairs in the waiting rooms. They stocked up on high-end inventory, expecting wealthy buyers to keep coming, but something fundamental has shifted in luxury car buying behavior. The customers who used to trade in their BMW every 3 years are now driving them for 5 or 6. The buyers who leased a new Audi annually are suddenly questioning whether they need a $70,000 vehicle when a $40,000 alternative does 90% of the same things. Number 7. Ram and Jeep dealerships are suffocating under the weight of unsold trucks and SUVs that are costing them a fortune. Stellantis, the parent company, went absolutely crazy with production over the past 2 years, flooding dealers with inventory whether they wanted it or not. Now those dealers are stuck with hundreds of vehicles they cannot sell fast enough, and the financial consequences are brutal. The average Ram and Jeep dealer has over 100 days supply of inventory right now. Industry standard is 60 days. Anything over 90 days is considered distressed inventory. Number 6. Honda and Toyota dealers are experiencing something they have never dealt with before: vehicles that do not sell themselves. For decades, these dealers operated in easy mode. They took orders, they collected deposits, they sold vehicles at or above MSRP with minimal effort. Customers waited in line for the privilege of buying from them. That era is over, and these dealers are not equipped to handle actual competition. The shift is causing massive problems because these dealerships built their entire business model around scarcity and high demand. They never had to negotiate aggressively. They never had to offer real incentives. They never had to work that hard for sales because customers came to them pre-sold on brand reputation. Now that consumer behavior is shifting and buyers are actually cross-shopping and considering alternatives, these dealers are losing sales they used to win automatically. Inventory is building up on Honda and Toyota lots in ways that seem impossible if you remember the pandemic-era shortages. Accord and Camry sedans sitting for 60 days. CR-Vs and RAV4s with actual dealer stock instead of customer orders. Even Tacomas and 4Runners, the vehicles that used to command dealer markups, are now available for immediate delivery at MSRP. For these brands, that is the equivalent of a fire sale. The psychological adjustment for these dealers has been brutal. Many literally do not know how to sell competitively because they never had to. Their sales teams got lazy during the shortage years when selling cars required zero effort. Now they are facing Korean brands with better warranties, domestic brands with bigger incentives, and European brands with more features, and they do not have the tools or tactics to compete beyond saying, "But we are Honda," or "But we are Toyota." That defense is becoming less effective by the month. What this means for buyers is that Honda and Toyota dealers are now actually negotiable for the first time in years. You can get invoice pricing, you can get accessories thrown in, you can get favorable financing terms. One buyer in Georgia negotiated $4,000 off a Highlander that had been sitting on the lot for 45 days. Another got a Honda Passport for $3,000 below MSRP plus free all-weather mats and door guards. These are small victories compared to domestic brand discounts, but for Toyota and Honda, this represents a seismic shift in dealer behavior driven by inventory reality they cannot ignore. Number 5. Nissan dealers are in complete freefall, and the desperation is reaching levels that are honestly uncomfortable to witness. These dealers are facing a triple crisis: bad brand reputation, aging inventory that nobody wants, and floor plan costs that are eating them alive. The combination is creating a dealership apocalypse that is happening in slow motion across the entire country. Start with the reputation problem. Nissan has become synonymous with CVT transmission failures, declining quality, and predatory subprime lending practices through their captive finance company. Informed buyers actively avoid the brand, which means the only customers Nissan dealers see are either uninformed shoppers who do not know better or subprime buyers with limited options. Neither group generates healthy profit margins or long-term customer relationships. Then add the inventory problem. Nissan dealers are stuck with vehicles that are genuinely hard to sell even with massive discounts. Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues that compete in the most crowded segments with the least brand equity. These vehicles sit and sit and sit, depreciating daily, costing the dealer money hourly. One Nissan dealer told me he has 7 Altimas that have been on his lot for over 120 days. He has dropped the price twice, offered incentives, advertised heavily, and still cannot move them. Every single day those cars sit there, he loses money. Now multiply that across his entire inventory, and you see the crisis. The result is deals that are almost too good to believe. $15,000 off MSRP on some models, 0% financing for 84 months, lease payments that are lower than used car payments for the same type of vehicle. One dealer in Nevada is literally giving away iPads with every vehicle purchase. Another dealer in Louisiana is offering free gas for a year. These are not sustainable business practices. These are liquidation tactics disguised as promotions. What makes this particularly tragic is that Nissan's newest vehicles are actually decent. The latest Rogue is competitive, the Pathfinder has improved significantly, the Frontier is genuinely good. But brand reputation moves slower than product improvement, and Nissan dealers are paying the price for a decade of declining quality and consumer trust. For buyers willing to overlook brand perception, these dealers represent absolutely insane value opportunities. You can get a brand new vehicle with a full warranty for prices that seem impossible compared to other brands. Number 4. Mazda dealers are trapped in no man's land, and the financial pressure is forcing deals nobody expected from a brand trying to position itself as premium. Mazda spent the past 5 years deliberately moving upmarket, adding nicer interiors, raising prices, and trying to compete with entry-level luxury brands. The strategy failed spectacularly because consumers do not perceive Mazda as premium, and the brand lacks the cachet to justify luxury pricing. Now dealers are stuck with inventory priced like premium vehicles but perceived as mainstream, and the math does not work. A loaded CX-90 costs $60,000, putting it in the same price range as Audi Q5, BMW X3, and Lexus RX. No matter how nice Mazda makes that vehicle, consumers will not cross-shop it with established luxury brands. They will compare it to a Honda Pilot or Toyota Highlander, and suddenly that Mazda looks expensive. This positioning failure has created an inventory backup that is crushing dealers. These dealers ordered inventory based on Mazda's premium strategy and corporate projections that never materialized. Now they have lots full of vehicles priced too high for mainstream buyers, but lacking the brand equity for luxury buyers. The vehicles sit, the interest charges accumulate, and the dealers bleed cash while corporate headquarters keeps pushing the premium message. The disconnect between Mazda's marketing and market reality is destroying dealer profitability. Dealers are now discounting heavily to move inventory, completely undermining the premium strategy corporate spent millions building. You can find $6,000 to $8,000 discounts on CX-50s and CX-90s. 0% financing offers that Mazda swore they would never do. Lease deals that make these vehicles cheaper than non-premium competitors. One dealer in Washington is offering a loyalty program where previous Mazda owners get an additional $2,000 discount, a sign of how desperate they are to keep any customer relationship alive. Another dealer in Virginia is throwing in maintenance packages and extended warranties just to make the value proposition more compelling. What is happening is that individual dealers are sacrificing margins and profitability to move metal, while corporate Mazda watches their carefully crafted premium positioning collapse in real time. For consumers, this is excellent news. You can get genuinely nice vehicles with great driving dynamics for thousands less than you would have paid a year ago. Mazda builds good cars. They just priced themselves out of their natural market, and now dealers are correcting that mistake one transaction at a time. Number 3. Volkswagen dealers are experiencing flashbacks to the diesel scandal era, except this time there is no buyback program to save them. These dealers are facing mounting inventory of vehicles that consumers are actively skeptical about, and the financial pressure is creating deals that rival or exceed anything seen during the Dieselgate crisis. Start with the trust problem that never fully healed. Despite being years removed from the emissions scandal, Volkswagen still suffers from reputational damage that affects purchase consideration. Surveys consistently show consumers rank Volkswagen below average for reliability and trustworthiness, perception problems that no amount of marketing can fully fix. This trust deficit means Volkswagen must offer better value than competitors just to get considered, which compresses dealer margins before negotiations even begin. Then layer in the electrification stumbles. Volkswagen bet heavily on the ID.4 electric SUV as their breakthrough product in America. The vehicle has been plagued by software issues, delivery delays, and quality complaints that generate negative press and social media horror stories. Dealers invested millions in EV infrastructure and training for a vehicle that is underperforming dramatically against sales projections. One Volkswagen dealer told me he has 14 ID.4s that have been on his lot for over 90 days, an eternity for what is supposed to be a hot new electric vehicle. He has dropped prices, offered incentives, and still cannot generate buyer interest. Each one costs him money every single day, while depreciation destroys their value faster than a traditional vehicle. Now add the traditional lineup challenges. The Jetta competes in a dying sedan segment. The Taos is too small for American SUV preferences. The Atlas is too expensive for its market position. The GTI appeals to an increasingly niche enthusiast market. None of these vehicles are bad, but none have a compelling advantage over alternatives, which means they sit on lots longer than they should. The cumulative effect is Volkswagen dealers offering deals so aggressive they feel like desperation pricing, because that is exactly what they are. $10,000 discounts on Atlas models, $7,000 off Tigans, ID.4 EVs priced below comparable Korean electric alternatives despite having less range and more problems, 0% financing across the lineup. Some dealers are offering European delivery credits on vehicles that will never leave the country, just burning manufacturer incentive money to make deals happen. One dealer in Colorado is running a promotion where they will make your first 2 payments if you buy any Volkswagen this month. Another dealer in Illinois is offering a trade-in guarantee where they will give you wholesale book value for any trade, regardless of condition, eating potential losses just to get customers in the door. These tactics indicate a dealer body that is running out of options and patience with a manufacturer that cannot provide them competitive products or compelling brand perception. Number 2. Stellantis multi-brand dealers are in absolute chaos trying to manage Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep inventory simultaneously, and the overlapping problems are creating a perfect storm of financial pressure. These dealers, many of whom were forced into multi-brand operations through manufacturer consolidation, are now struggling with 3 struggling brands under one roof instead of one. The economics are brutal. Imagine paying floor plan interest on aging Chrysler Pacificas that nobody wants, Ram trucks that are not selling fast enough, Dodge Durangos that are priced too high, Jeep Wranglers that have quality concerns, and Alfa Romeos that should never have been imported in the first place. All of this inventory sitting on one dealer's books, all of it costing money daily, none of it moving fast enough to maintain healthy cash flow. One multi-brand Stellantis dealer described his situation as managing 3 separate inventory crises with one shrinking cash reserve. These dealers are offering portfolio deals that are absolutely insane. Buy a Jeep and get a Pacifica for family members at cost. Lease a Ram and get a Dodge Challenger for weekends at $100 per month. Trade in any vehicle regardless of brand or condition and get an extra $2,000 in trade value. These are not coordinated marketing campaigns. These are individual dealers trying anything they can think of to convert inventory into cash before their floor plan credit line maxes out. The manufacturer relationship has deteriorated to near hostility in some cases. Dealers are furious about being forced to accept inventory allocations they did not request for brands they cannot sell. Stellantis corporate keeps talking about brand positioning and strategic vision while dealers are bleeding actual money on actual lots with actual vehicles they cannot move. This disconnect has created a situation where some dealers are quietly exploring exit strategies, trying to sell their franchises or negotiate buyouts, anything to escape the financial nightmare of representing multiple failing brands simultaneously. For consumers, this multi-brand chaos creates incredible leverage. These dealers are so overwhelmed with inventory problems across multiple brands that they will negotiate on almost anything just to generate cash flow. You can pit brands against each other within the same dealership, asking if they would rather sell you a Jeep or a Ram. Whichever they discount more wins your business. This forces the dealer to compete with themselves, often resulting in deals that would make manufacturer executives furious if they knew the actual numbers. One buyer in Florida negotiated a deal on a Jeep Wrangler, then asked what kind of deal they could do on a Ram truck instead, then played them against each other until he got both vehicles at invoice pricing with free accessories. The dealer took the deal because moving 2 vehicles in one transaction, even at minimal profit, was better than watching them sit for another month. Number 1. Nationwide chains like Lithia and AutoNation are quietly closing locations and consolidating operations in ways that signal serious financial stress despite their public optimism. These mega dealers, the ones who own dozens or hundreds of locations across multiple states, are facing a scale crisis where their size has become a liability instead of an advantage. The problem is simple math multiplied by hundreds of locations. Every dealership in their portfolio is experiencing the same inventory financing pressures, the same margin compression, the same sales velocity slowdown. When you operate 300 dealerships and each one is slightly less profitable than it was last year, the cumulative effect is devastating. Quarterly earnings that miss projections, stock prices that decline, debt covenants that get dangerously close to violation. One former executive at a major dealer group told me that their internal projections show at least 20% of their locations are currently operating at a loss or break-even when you factor in all actual costs. They are keeping these stores open, hoping conditions improve, but every month that does not happen, the losses mount. The financial engineering that made these mega dealer groups possible is now working against them. They leveraged heavily to acquire dealerships during the good times, assuming revenue and margins would remain stable or grow. Now they are carrying enormous debt loads during a period of compressed margins and slower sales, a recipe for serious financial stress. You can see the evidence if you look carefully. Locations quietly closing with minimal announcement. Consolidation of multiple brand dealerships into single mega facilities. Staff reductions masked as efficiency improvements. Inventory levels kept artificially low not because of demand but because of credit line limitations. These are not signs of healthy businesses adapting to change. These are symptoms of financial pressure that cannot be hidden anymore. What this means for consumers is that these mega dealers are incredibly motivated to hit monthly sales targets because they are reporting numbers to corporate headquarters, boards of directors, and public investors. Miss targets consistently, and stock prices fall, credit gets tighter, and the death spiral accelerates. So they will do almost anything to hit numbers, especially in the final days of each month. You can walk into these dealerships on the 28th or 29th of the month and find salespeople and managers who will agree to deals they would reject a week earlier. They need volume. They need to show sales momentum. They need to report positive numbers to corporate. Your leverage is maximum during these windows. The deals available at these mega dealer groups are incredible if you time it right. End of month, end of quarter, these are when the real desperation shows. $8,000 discounts on vehicles they would have only come down $3,000 on 2 weeks earlier. Financing terms that make no sense mathematically but hit some corporate metric they need to achieve. Accessories and services thrown in just to increase the transaction value on paper. One buyer in New York walked into a Lithia store on the last day of the quarter and got a deal that beat every online quote by $5,000 because the store was 12 vehicles short of a manufacturer bonus threshold. They would have lost $50,000 if they did not hit the target, so giving this buyer a massive discount was actually profitable in context. So there you have it. 9 dealership situations that have gone from routine business challenges to full financial crisis mode. What this really shows you is that the power dynamic between dealers and customers has completely flipped. For decades, dealers held all the cards. They controlled inventory, they controlled information, they controlled the entire transaction. Now they are drowning in inventory they cannot afford to keep, bleeding cash on interest charges, and desperate for customers who have more options and information than ever before. The opportunity for informed buyers right now is absolutely unprecedented. These dealers are not offering these deals because they want to. They are offering them because they have to. Every additional day a vehicle sits on their lot costs them money. Every week they do not hit sales targets puts them closer to financial trouble. Every month of mounting floor plan interest charges brings them closer to closing their doors permanently. You can leverage that desperation into the best deal you will probably ever get on a vehicle if you know what to look for and when to strike. The key is understanding that these are not temporary promotions or marketing gimmicks. These are genuine financial distress signals manifesting as buyer opportunities. When a dealer offers you $10,000 off a vehicle that was marked up $15,000 just 2 years ago, that is not generosity, that is survival. When they throw in free maintenance, accessories, and extended warranties, they are not being nice. They are desperately trying to make the math work on a transaction that is barely profitable. When they accept offers you think are too low to be real, they are not making a mistake. They are choosing to take a small loss today rather than a bigger loss next month. The tragedy is that many of these dealers are genuinely good businesses, run by decent people who got caught in economic forces beyond their control. They made inventory decisions based on one set of assumptions, and then interest rates, consumer behavior, and market conditions all shifted simultaneously in ways nobody predicted. Now they are paying the price, and while that is unfortunate for them, it represents opportunity for you. Which dealership situation shocked you most? Have you walked into a dealer recently and found inventory and willingness to negotiate that seemed impossible a year ago? Drop your experiences in the comments because this information helps everyone understand what is really possible right now. Smash that like button if you want more people to know what is actually happening behind the cheerful dealer advertisements and happy social media posts. And subscribe right now, because as these dealerships get more desperate, the deals are going to get even more insane, and I will be covering every bit of it. The automotive retail apocalypse is here, and it is creating opportunities that will not last forever. Time to take advantage before these dealers either go under completely or conditions somehow improve enough that they return to normal pricing. Right now, today, this moment represents maximum leverage for buyers who do their homework and negotiate aggressively.